and welcome back to the Rise and Align podcast, where we talk about all things high vibrational. We are your hosts. My name is Haley.
And my name is Demi, and today we are talking about glitches in the Matrix. So if you are just seeing this, this is the part 2. So make sure that you check out part 1. But we thought it would be fun to explore different glitches in the Matrix, different experiences that people have had that make them believe that this reality might not be exactly as it appears.
Yes. That's super good. We can't wait to get into it. Again, make sure you check out the first episode to hear all of the funness that we've already dived into. But before we get started, I do just want to do a little bit of a disclaimer. Some of the topics that we talk about or share that happen to other people are a little bit crazy, a little bit traumatic. So just be mindful when you're listening that some tougher subjects might come up. But if you're up for it, I think that it'll be worth it to listen and hear about some of these glitches that people have had in their life.
Some years ago, I was at a soft play center with my husband and children. Hubby and son thought it would be great to throw mom into the ball pit. It was until I got out and realized that my car keys had come out of my pocket somewhere in the pit. The staff helped look, but they were gone. Fortunately, my husband had a spare key on his key ring, so we got home. We never found them. 3 years later, I was walking along the road in a different town, having moved house, taking daughter to get a haircut. She went into her pocket for a tissue and brought out the car keys from years earlier. I just stopped walking and stood absolutely gobsmacked. She did not even have that coat at the time. I have honestly no explanation for the keys jumping through time and space into my daughter's coat pocket, a coat she did not even have when they went missing.
That's interesting. I wonder, did they end up needing the keys for something, or did it say if they moved?
So the keys were for her car.
Okay.
That they had driven that day that they were at the soft pit, right?
Yeah.
So part of me is like, okay, if this car were a push start, then maybe she never had her keys in the first place and she had lost them like in their coat closet, and when they were moving, somebody just threw them in a pocket because they're like old keys that they don't use. Could see that happening. But if this car is a key start, she for sure had the keys going to the ball pit, the foam pit, and then never found them, and then they were suddenly 3 years later in a jacket that she didn't even have at the time.
Does she I wonder if she still has the same car though. Like
I do wonder that too.
I wonder sometimes, I think spirit or God or your angels, whatever, like I think they can manipulate things or change things behind the scenes, because maybe she'll need those keys in a different scenario and they'll just happen to be back in there and ready. Like it'll say, I don't know.
So interesting you say that, because when I was going through these, I found quite a few other really similar scenarios where a person would lose something and they were for sure that they lost it, and then all of a sudden it showed back up. One example was this person went to a concert, they got really drunk, and they literally threw their jacket in the crowd, and they were like, screw it, like everyone's kicking us out and I'm not going to go back and try to look for this jacket. So they left without the jacket. They knew they didn't have the jacket. They woke up at home the next day and the jacket was in their closet. So the other day I get this Rocksbox subscription, and so if you lose things you have to buy them, and I wasn't going to buy this bracelet, so I really didn't want to lose it, but I was in a rush earlier that day and I threw all my jewelry in my pocket so that I could put it on later because I was like on my way to a hair appointment. Well, I forgot to put it on at the hair appointment. I came home and I was like, oh shoot, where's all my jewelry, right? So I'm taking everything out of my pockets, I put on my rings, and then I'm like, oh no, where's that bracelet? Now I looked in both of my pockets at least 4 different times, like, because I didn't believe that it wasn't there, because in my mind, what I say to myself is like, okay, just be calm, because I never lose anything, like it will show up, But I was so panicked that I couldn't find it that I started looking around my house. I started looking in my car. I was like, maybe it fell out, maybe it fell in my purse. Like I was looking in all these different areas, and then finally I like gave up, and one last time I put my hand in my pocket and the bracelet was in my pocket.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's
How do you
Similar
miss
thing.
it 4
Yeah.
times?
Yes, I've done that with my ID before. Lost my ID, weeks go by. I've checked every single purse 10 times, every single pocket 10 times.
Yes.
And then you look back at the main purse that you use all the time and it's there.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
I
did
checked
not.
there
Yes.
multiple times.
Yes.
Multiple times.
Yes.
Mindfully.
Yes. So it's like, did I lose it? And my spirit angel is like
returning it to me?
collecting it and putting it back in my purse so I find it. Like, I don't know. Or like, is past me like, or like my future me like going back
and giving it to me
and bringing it like.
I don't know. It's funny because my grandma says that when she loses something, she prays to Saint Anthony. And the other day she was like, he's probably sick of hearing from me. But she's like, every time I do that, I find whatever it is that I'm missing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I do a similar thing where I'm like, okay, it's going to turn up for sure.
Yeah.
Always does. Always does. I never lose anything. And then it does.
Yeah.
But
or it's just a matter of
inexplicably.
energy. Like maybe it takes as long as you need to align with the vibration of having it back instead of the feeling of having it lost. And then it appears. I don't know.
Yeah. There was another glitch in the Matrix story where this girl said that she swears that she saw a future version of her. She was like, the person looked exactly like me, 10 years older than me, had a tattoo exactly like I want to get in the same spot that I want to get. And she's like, it's not a common tattoo. My best friend drew it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy she was with looked exactly like her boyfriend, but 10 years older. And then she said that they made eye contact and that they were both like shocked and then they ran away.
Oh my God. They probably weren't supposed to be in the same time space. That was probably definitely a glitch.
Yeah. There's quite a few about people hearing different voices and stuff as well. I do remember specifically, it freaked me out so badly that I never forgot this story. I was living in Ironwood, Michigan, and we lived in a 2-story duplex, and my mom was painting at the top of the stairs, and I think she had purple paint. The reason I think this is because after that, there was a really small, like baby-like footprint at the top of the stairs in purple paint. So she's sitting there painting. It's the middle of the day. I'm not like scared or hallucinating or anything. I was like a little kid. I was probably like 4 or 5 years old myself, but it scared me so bad that I remember this. She said something to me in like a little gremlin voice. And I thought she was just like kidding with me. And so I was like, Mom, stop it. And she's like, stop what? But after I like got so upset that I was like crying and screaming at her because I was like, just admit that you said this to me in this weird voice. She was like, I swear to God on everything that I did not say that. Is like, I don't know.
Oh my gosh. My mom just went through an experience just like that with my sister. It's like very similar. She was having a conversation with her in the car, like everything was normal. And then my sister starts like, she said she literally started speaking like, it was like gibberish or a different language. She just kind of went, and my mom's like, what? What did you say? And she was just kind of like staring ahead and like speaking nonsense. And my mom is like, are you okay? Like, what is going on? And then nothing. And then my mom's like, Casey. And she's like, yeah. And my mom's like, what were you just talking about? And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, no idea what just happened.
There are other stories that are really similar to that as well, where people like just stop, like they're just like they glitch out, like the human glitches out. But there are people commenting saying like that could be a brain tumor or something. Like, could be either. Like, we just don't know.
She said she was like it was like she was having a conversation with someone, but like in a different language. Like it was like she waited for a response, and then she said she kind of got like a little bit angry or something, but then all of a sudden it was like back to normal. She didn't remember what she was saying or anything.
That's so that's what my boyfriend does in his sleep. That's so weird though. Like you never know.
Super
and there
weird.
aren't really always logical explanations for everything. Like,
No. It says my friend was at my flat but disappeared halfway through. So I had a friend over last night. We ran into each other earlier in the day and we made plans to have dinner together. She comes over, we hang out on the couch for around an hour, just chatting and whatnot. I stand up because I get a phone call. So I go into my room for around 10 to 15 minutes. I get back. She's not out there anymore. Okay, so she must be in the bathroom, right? I sit on the couch to wait for her, but she doesn't come out. I go check on her. The bathroom is empty. Now I'm weirded out. Did she leave for no reason? I didn't hear the door open or close, and I have a pretty heavy door. I even go outside into the hallway to check if she's there for some reason, but she just promptly disappeared. So now I'm thinking she left for whatever reason, so I call her. It rings for a while, and she picks up. Immediately, I think it's weird. If she left my flat, she would be on the street, but it's very quiet wherever she is, and she sounds like she just woke up. I ask her why she left my flat, and she had no idea what I was talking about. I get frustrated and ask where she is. I'm at home taking a nap. Your phone call woke me up. I could hear rustling sheets as I said, there's no way her side of the phone call would be so quiet if she just left my flat. I live in a busy area. I request to video call her, and she is in her home, in her bed. She has no makeup on. She's in her pajamas, looking confused, and her eyes are still kind of puffy from sleep. I ask her if she remembered coming to my flat. She looked confused. Did we make plans today? She said that after running into me, all we did was chat, say goodbye, and then she went home to take a nap. Obviously, there's no way she got home, removed her makeup, undid her hair, and changed her clothes within 15 minutes. She lives like a half an hour away from me.
Like, what kind of logical explanation do you have? Like, I guess people could say she's crazy, she's drunk,
Yeah.
she was dreaming. But I mean, like, I don't know.
Nuts.
That's
So, yeah, more people saying, like, check for carbon monoxide poisoning.
right.
But, oh, this is interesting. A comment says, did your friend remember her dream in her nap at all? I wonder if she dreamt about that and the dream realm and the awake realm collided briefly.
Ooh, I wonder that too sometimes. Mm-hmm. Once in a while, I do feel like I don't know, maybe, what's the word? There's a word for it when you are like physically unconscious, but you are still conscious and you like intentionally leave your body and like travel.
Oh my gosh.
Astral projection.
Yes.
Astral projection. I do wonder if that happens sometimes unintentionally while you're dreaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it could affect the other person.
For real.
So it's interesting because there are lots of stories like that one too. And right as you were reading that, this one came up too. My sister swore that she had a conversation with me that never occurred in our reality. Now, I've had this happen to me a few times as well. But every once in a while, I have dreams about places or people that I've never seen. Then about 6 months later, I'm in the place or with the people and I have deja vu. I also sing random songs even when something else is playing on the radio. Then the next song plays and it's what I was singing. I've had that happen too. I've done this on mine, my best friends, and my girlfriend's iPods on shuffle many, many times, and it freaks them out every time. One super weird thing, though, that happened in about 2012. I was 19 and living at home with my parents and my younger sister. I came home from work from my job at a barbecue place, and my sister says to me, "Oh, I thought you were off today." I'm confused because I left at 5 a.m. before anyone else was awake, and I ask her, "When did I say that?" She says to me, "Like 2 hours ago in your room." She thinks I'm screwing with her, so I tell her to smell me because you can smell the barbecue sauce and smoke on me from my work. Then she gets really creeped out and tells me that she went into my room earlier and saw me in bed with covers up to my neck and had a 15-minute conversation with me. This shit really creeped me out and I never felt comfortable in that room again.
I don't know if this would apply necessarily in this situation, but I do wonder too, like, if time, I feel like time has to be able to be paused, right? So I feel like this happens a lot, like if you're losing your train of thought in a conversation, like I feel like time paused and then when it starts again, like technically it's been a long time since like you were having that conversation, so like your mind is blank. But I wonder if like I don't know, like I wonder if time can like
Stop.
yeah, or like stop for some people and they don't know, and
They
like
don't
other people
notice?
continue on, like they don't know because time has stopped, but then other people continue. I mean, again, this doesn't necessarily apply to the situation, but I'm like, I was just thinking about that.
It's interesting. There was a show on Amazon. I cannot remember what it was called, but that happened in the show where time stopped. But these two people were still like awake and alive and like running around, and everyone else was like frozen in time.
But they know that time has stopped.
But they know that time has stopped. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Or like there's that one show on Netflix, The Umbrella Academy. And they jump through different times and dimensions and things as well in that show.
Yeah. There has to be some sort of something going on like that.
I don't know. Like maybe it's hard to otherwise explain unless like there are just so many people who are completely batshit crazy, which I don't know. A lot of these people were like kids when it happened. They're not doing drugs. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just so weird. I found a location where people would spawn and despawn. This just happened quite recently. I was heading towards a place from a train station that was being remodeled, and there's a huge chunk that's under construction. I got a bit lost in the area, and my Google Maps was telling me that I should go through one path. But I couldn't, since the whole area was basically off limits, and I should take a detour. This was some busy underpass with people going to the platforms, and there was one big temporary plywood wall with big signs of under construction, unauthorized access, forbidden, no entry. This part got weird. That plywood wall had a plywood door, and people were entering and exiting like a normal busy door. Completely normal looking people that looked like they don't belong in a construction area. Even some old lady entered it. So then I thought that the map is working fine, and I decided to go through the door. Same. It got even weirder. On the other side was a huge empty area, completely under construction, an area of sand piles, piles of gravel, some pillars and construction in the distance. The edge of the underpass was completely unfinished. I was really confused since I wasn't far behind the last person who went through the door, and I had no idea where the guy went. There was no path. It didn't seem to look like there was some path where the people would have gone. There's a big gravel road in front of me going a bit to the side, and the map was telling me to follow some similar path. So I thought maybe I should check it out a bit. Except, fuck no. A big Caterpillar tractor sped up along the road, and I wasn't planning to walk near that. I saw the guy in the tractor looking at me confused, so the next thing I thought was to go back since I shouldn't even be in here. I opened the door, and a few people walking away / to a platform looked at me weirdly like I did when I saw people entering the door. No one entered after I went through though, nor when I came out. So after that, I had to take the detour since I was in a hurry anyway and forgot about it for the rest of the day. Just weird. I mean, like, I don't know. She could have been wrong. Like, maybe those people really were construction workers, but it's weird that, like, she went in there and no one was in there. Like, she couldn't see where the people who just walked in there went. So, like,
I love this stuff. I love how weird life can be.
Yeah.
Just like, yes.
Yeah. Or like you were just saying about your sister, right? So this is a quick one. It says, in the middle of a conversation, I heard the word skip. I was listening to my friend talk, and he suddenly just lagged out, I guess. He sounded like a static phone and then repeated a couple words. Same.
The computer needs an update. Like, oh my gosh.
Or this one. This happens to me, like, not saying that I lie all the time, but when I want something to come true, like if I want somebody to like cancel on me, or I want to get a certain table, or like I just want something to happen for me, it usually does. In a weird twist of fate, my lie became the truth. I was going to be late, and I was coming up with a story in order to avoid getting in trouble. The story I came up with is that as I was being pulled over by a cop for speeding, someone rear-ended him and it hit my vehicle. Had a pretty big dent in my truck, but no one knew what I drove yet, as I was new to the job. 5 minutes later, I got pulled over for going 75 in a 65. And lo and behold, someone clipped the cop car and pushed the car into my truck. Ticket was excused. Boss told me it was okay. Got that bumper fixed for free and $1,000 from the dude's insurance company, the one who hit the cop car.
That's a vibe. Everything's always working out. Oh. When I was like 10 or 11, I was going to the beach with my aunt and her friends. There were 2 cars of us. To get there, we had to go through a very large industrial area. We didn't know the direction, so our car was following the other. Suddenly, they did an unexpected turn, and so did our driver. Oh my gosh, I can't read. Suddenly, they did an unexpected turn, and so our driver had to take a sharp bend. In that moment, we heard a very clear, loud voice inside the car saying, laughing, "Sharp bend, The driver immediately hit the brakes. We looked at each other all puzzled. We all recognized it as a voice not belonging to any of us. In the very same time, we noticed that the other car has stopped as well. The other driver got out of the car with a scared face and shouted to us, Did you hear that as well?" They heard the very same thing inside the car. The area around was fully deserted.
Oh, that is weird. Okay, so when we were reading that one about the mom and daughter who saw the guy point at them and laugh, people were commenting that somehow Bluetooth had connected inside of cars and that somehow through that people were able to hear what was going on within cars. So I wonder if that could somehow be a reverse situation where like kids are playing with some type of radio and able to say it on the radio through the car.
Yeah. If depending on what they were it wouldn't be Bluetooth because if it was deserted and no one was around, but if it's like AM, FM, whatever, somehow they could get into that system maybe.
It could be a poltergeist too.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be weird for them to hear it in both cars like around the same time, I guess. But I guess I don't know the rules of poltergeisting.
It's also really weird that both cars were so freaked out by it that they both stopped and then even got out and talked to each other about it.
Yeah.
Like, because how would you expect the other person to have heard that too? You know, like, or why?
Yeah. I feel like, people talk a lot about how, like, leprechauns exist and fairies and stuff. They're just in a different realm and you can't see them, but they're there. Like, I wonder if it's some sort of thing like that. Like, there's some sort of being
in that area
that you can't see, but how are they in both cars? Like,
I wonder where it happened.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so weird. So weird. Reality is so weird. It's interesting because I think about this all the time when I'm in my car, how I wish that we could somehow communicate, like possibly via Bluetooth with other cars. Like there's a lot of times I want to talk to a person who's in a car around me, whether it be nice or not. And, we can't. We have no like way of like communicating with the cars around us. So it's interesting that people are saying that somehow technology has allowed people to do that, like, but also while it's glitching, like it's never an intentional thing that we know of. Yeah, weird. The dead uncle who didn't die. I knew my uncle had died. My mom had called me and told me the news. It was very sad. She told me in the middle of work, and I told one of my coworkers. He expressed his condolences on my loss. A couple of weeks later, my sister mentioned my aunt and uncle doing something. I said, "But he's dead." And my sister said, "No, he isn't." I called my mom. No, he wasn't dead. To this day, I'm still not sure how much of it my brain imagined and how much was real. Did I really talk to my coworker? Was I even on the phone with my mom at all that day? It still freaks me out knowing that my mind could fabricate so complete and real memory like that. I would ask my coworker 100%. Like, did we have this conversation?
Yeah. I also wonder then, like, how reliable humans are. Like, we're just like we make stuff up, or like,
literally,
or we
like,
just, maybe we are intaking memories from a different dimension or something, and then somehow we end up in this one, and then we're just like living our life based off of information that doesn't exist in this one, and like, it's weird as heck.
it is really weird. And there are so many things, like I said, I can see how our memories could fail us, and we can imagine things, we can dream things and stuff like that. But there are a lot of things that it's like, why would a person ever make that up? I don't, there's no, you don't get anything out of it.
Yeah.
And some of the things, like I said, are things that lots of people believe. Why are all these people making up the same thing?
Yeah, I know.
For what?
And yeah, like, it doesn't benefit them to.
Does it exist in their dimension? I don't know. Like, even like conspiracy theories, like reptilians like eating children and stuff. Like, a lot of people believe that. A lot. Do I? Like, not really. I've never like seen any serious evidence for it. I've never seen anything like that in my reality ever. But like, the fact that so many people believe it, is it like, did one person just make it up and tell other people and then everyone believed it that easily? Or like, do all these people have some kind of a legitimate reason to believe that that was a thing in their dimension?
Yeah. Right. Or all these people did live in a different dimension. They got killed by something, and they all came here.
Maybe.
And like transported into a different version of them or something.
I don't know.
They're bringing their memories.
Are we crazy, or are they? I don't know.
We're all crazy.
This one's kind of interesting. It was only 23 hours ago. I witnessed the emergency scene of a car accident. The next day, it never happened. No one in my neighborhood recalls it ever happening. I'm really scared. Due to privacy concerns, I can't disclose my exact location. I live in a rural city in Washington State, and there was a major collision on the road near my house early Wednesday morning last week. I was on my way to work, but got stopped by the local deputies directing traffic at the accident scene. I had to call my manager and tell her that I would run late due to the backup. I tuned into the local news after work to hear the details, and as it turns out, there was no accident. I understand that a minor crash could escape the local news headlines, but this involved multiple vehicles. I remember seeing 3 ambulances parked next to the police. It was crazy. The following day, I scoured the news and police Facebook updates to learn more about the large wreck, only to find it empty. I have asked neighbors and local police about it, and they have no recollection of it ever happening. Even worse, a local resident that I was chatting with on the morning of the accident was nowhere to be found today. On my way home this afternoon, I asked a local dog walker near the previous accident scene if he knew the guy that I was talking about on the previous day. I described the witness from head to toe so that there would not be any confusion. At first, the dog walker looked at me with a dumbfounded expression. Then his expression changed to one of annoyance, and he thought I was making a stupid joke. He told me that the guy that I had allegedly spoken to had been dead for over a year. I don't know what to make of this.
Okay, hear me out. She was in the accident and maybe passed, and then she won, like, we read one earlier where it was almost like she kind of went back in time to redo that, so she didn't die. So it could be something like, go back to the checkpoint and try again. Yeah. Or like, she maybe experienced that. She was involved in the crash and maybe had kind of like an out of body experience of like kind of seeing what happened, and then maybe she like did go into a different dimension, and she still has memories of that happening, but it's in a different world now or something. Like, I feel like she had to have been in the crash. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So there are a bunch of comments on this one, and somebody was like, research the guy that you spoke to. Maybe he was the one in the accident that you saw, and maybe what you saw was residual energy from that accident. She responded that she looked it up, and the older guy that she spoke to died of cancer in hospice care. And then somebody said crashes don't always make it to the news, which I thought the same thing. I was like, I don't know. I've seen a lot of things happen that don't make it to the news. So they said, ask the police/emergency services if they know anything about it. If they deny that it occurred, then you've got some weirdness going on for sure. She said, I did ask the police, and they have no recollection of it ever happening.
Um, so I can't spoil, I'm not going to say what book it is, but we've read a book where there was an accident and it was kind of covered up because famous people were involved, or, well,
Yeah,
they didn't want it like getting out. So I wonder if, like, depending on who or what was involved or what happened, like it could be some
it could
sort of
just be
like
covered
cover up.
up. Yeah,
Like they
yeah.
don't want that to be public.
Also, somebody commented, does your manager remember you calling in that day? She said, yes, she does. However, she couldn't find any news about the crash, which puzzled her. I wasn't lying, and she didn't think that I was either. It just continues to perplex both of us. My workplace is an easygoing place, and I rarely call in, so my manager wasn't too concerned, and she believed me.
Ah, that's so wild.
Yeah, I don't know. You just never know.
That makes me feel like so like nothing is certain. Like what is any of this? Is it going to be here tomorrow?
Okay. I have two best friends who have never met each other. Both women come from very old money and are well to do. Both women have told me the same story, that an elderly woman knocked on their door and introduced herself and proceeded to tell them what the future was going to be like and what to invest in and what to stay away from. They both described the same woman to me. When I asked them about this woman, neither of them remembered her. I described the event as they told me, but neither one remembered. Somebody commented and was like, what was her advice? And they responded, the first friend told me the story in the 80s. The second friend told me the same story in the late 90s. The woman showed them the writing in a book. They were vague when I asked them. One told me the stock market would fail. The other said that there would be a war. I wondered why I was the one that remembered, but not the one to receive the info. Interesting.
That's so interesting.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
You never know.
Wow.
Oh, back to the other one too. Somebody commented, does your manager remember you calling in and running late? She said, yes, she does. I spoke to her over the phone. And they said, is the call in your call log? And she said, yes, it's on my phone.
That's a glitch.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, you just never know. The Mandela effect is a completely different one. I definitely feel like the Mandela effect is a glitch in the matrix. If you've never heard of the Mandela effect, some people remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 80s, and then other ones, I think he didn't die yet, right? Or he died in the, let me look it up real quick.
I think
What do you think?
I think that I think I just remember learning that he went to prison in the 80s, but I don't remember
that he
learning
didn't die.
died. Yeah.
Okay, so he died in 2013. Not in prison.
Yeah.
But some people thought that he died way long before that.
I wonder if there was some sort of weird propaganda out
Yeah.
at the time, but then I think that especially in earlier days of the internet or in earlier days of like prior to internet, I think it was easier to like get rid of information. So maybe they were getting rid of the stuff like the propaganda that they used to like brainwash people. I don't know.
That could totally be. However, I've looked into the Mandela effect quite a lot because there are a few different things that I remember differently than how they now are.
I do believe in it. I do believe it's a thing.
but that's why they named it after that, because so many people were like so sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the concepts that people talk about within the Mandela effect is where the Statue of Liberty is located. So some people think that it is on the island that is right in New York that you landed on to like enter the country.
Ellis Island?
Ellis Island. Yes. Some people think that it's on Ellis Island and other people say that it's not. I went there and it's not. Also, I remember when I was a kid seeing people tour the torch and the crown of the Statue of Liberty,
Mm-hmm.
and now people are saying that that was never a thing. You could never do that, and you can't do that now.
Well, I mean, just from what I've heard, I think it's possible that they closed that. But
Yeah.
I think that people definitely,
Yeah.
personally think that I've seen people
Yeah,
talk about that.
yeah, and apparently it was never. You can't, and you never could. I don't know. Also, like, the Berenstain Bears appears to be spelled differently now. There are quite a few different, like, children's nursery rhymes that are different.
Yeah.
A lot of people remember Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, who's the fairest of them all. And other people remember, and now apparently what it says is Magic Mirror on the Wall, who's the fairest of them all. Could come down to human error, but...
Yeah. Or like how it was passed along from like different people passed it along differently. But there are some scenarios where it's like
from
it
the
couldn't
movie,
be,
though.
like, yeah, like there's no, that's what I mean. Like some
Yeah.
stuff it could just be like the way it was passed along. But there's things that like when it's like written or recorded, it's hard to like argue how that could happen, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. That's different. There's a whole conversation on, do you think that Berenstain believers are misremembering or from a different reality?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Like
That's the
what
question.
is the question?
That is the question. Yeah, people do just remember things differently. And I mean, some people, maybe people are just wrong, but it is weird.
It is weird that certain things like it's so they're like it, people are so sure one way or the opposite, like or one way or the other, like and it's not just like I thought it was this and I thought it was this.
Oh
They're
my
like
God.
it was this, and the other people are like no, it was
I'm
this.
gonna argue this one. It says the ShamWow guy Vince is still alive! ! Question mark. I specifically remember that he died. It was like a big thing. People were upset about. It was in the news. It says, I remember Vince dying of a drug overdose in a hotel room. I didn't know how he died. I just knew that he died. It was on the news around 2014. I was astonished to recently see him on a video with Sam Hyde still alive. Wondering if anyone else remembers this. Clicking on the comments. Okay. Somebody said, no, in my universe, it was Sam Hyde who died from drinking OxyClean. My mother actually used it to teach what poison was, so I remember it really distinctly.
If you guys have any cool stories or glitches that you want to share, please tell us. It would even be fun to do like an episode of glitches that you guys have experienced too.
Yeah.
So we want to hear it. We love it.
We do. I think it's just interesting. You just never know. And I think like if you understand quantum physics the way that we do, then I mean nothing is impossible. So it's just fun to explore different concepts of what could be, what could happen. Maybe none of it's real, but what the heck is
maybe we're
real?
just a couple of loonies. I don't know.
Could be. But also like what is reality? Like what does real mean?
Nothing's real. That's all.
I don't know. I don't know that. If you could answer that, I would love to hear your perspective.
So true.
With that said, shall we pull a card?
Yes. So we'll finish this off with a card pull. This may or may not be a part 2. So if you made it to part 2, you get the message.
That's funny because right when you took out the cards, this was on the top and I looked at it and I was like, I wonder if that's the card. So the card is Justice. It has the scales in one hand and the sword in the other, so representing a balance. She's sitting on a bench with her legs crossed.
Okay. So, justice. Which is the number 11. And themes regarding this card are inner guidance, finding balance, truth, karma, law, justice, honesty, and accountability. Upright, this card depicts a beautiful and powerful witch. She holds a balancing scale and a sword. She uses her sword to cut through illusion and reveal the truth. Nothing can hide from her. Her hair is red, representing passion and purpose. The curtain behind her is purple, the color of wisdom. When justice makes her appearance in a reading, she usually advises you to seek balance and fairness and to weigh all pros and cons before making a big decision or taking action. Justice is known as the karma card, meaning you are reaping what you've sown. Justice is also associated with all legal matters. She hints that everything will work out in your favor as long as you are being truthful, honest, and fair. Justice serves as a reminder to always act with integrity and take responsibility for your actions. We did pull upright, but in case the reversed meaning resonates with you, it can indicate unfairness, a holdback, or unwillingness to accept the consequences of your or someone else's actions. You must look into the future and move away from unfair circumstances. What can you do today to tip the scales back to balance? Turn to your inner self for guidance.
Lovely. I think reflecting and relating back to the episode, like, you're the only one who knows what you feel, what you experience, and what is truth to you.
Yeah, I agree. It says that she uses her sword to cut through illusion and reveal the truth. Nothing can hide from her. And I think that when you are aligned, when you're connected, when you are listening, you always know the truth. And it may not be like a super tangible human ego type of answer, but it's like an inner knowing that I think you can grasp when you are allowing yourself to like truly connect with yourself and all that is, honestly.
I agree. Well, that said, we hope this was fun, mind-opening, and entertaining for you. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, or like this podcast episode, subscribe to our station. As always, we love you. Thank you for raising the frequency.
We can't wait to have a wonderful 2024 with you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.